your jig is just loose like this on the table, and you're sharpening away, your jig tends to move around a bit. So not only are you trying to concentrate on sharpening your skates, you're also concentrating on not having your jig move around. So at home, I always clamp my jig up. That way, I don't have to worry about jig jumping around. Not really very good. Well, clamping on plastic, clamp over the frame. So the majority of jigs out there have what we call a backstop, which is the bar at the back of the jig. That's used for lining the blades up with. And the way that your skates go into the jig, this is the way you skate, left and right. So if you take your skates, you turn them upside down, this is how they go into the jig. Now, my jig is not fixed on the ends because I do so many different skates at home. I leave it loose. But this jig, this particular jig, comes with a bar that goes across the middle and locks both ends in. It's just an added stiffener. When the blades are locked in like this doesn't move anyway. So they drop in, and if you were watching that, the shelf here and here is a precision part of the jig. So the blades go in and they drop down, and you pull the blades back to the backstop. And they're done the same way each and every time. You know they're always the same. So that's locked in. I think what I'll do first is I'll just go ahead and sharpen those skates without any explanation, show you how quick it is to do a pair of skates, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to redo these skates, and I'll do it step by step and explain everything. So, rough side and smooth side. Start with the rough side. See, if I was sharpening without the jig clamped to the table, the jig would be jumping all over the place. And you're concentrating on trying to keep pressure on the blade and the jig jumping around. How can you be consistent with the pressure on the blade? And that is the trick, is consistent pressure from front to back. Because if you're not consistent, you end up changing the shape of your blades. And everybody does that. So I've changed to the smooth side. How long did that take?
Not very long.
Okay, if you can't do a pair of skates in that sort of time, there's something wrong. I've seen kids spend 25, 30 minutes doing their skates and I don't know what they're doing. Because if everything is correct, you should be able to do your skates in 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, now I'll do my blades and I'll do it slowly. Okay, rough side. Start at the back of the blade and I'm going to cross cut. The idea of cross cutting the stone like this is to try and use as much of the surface as possible. Because if you don't use as much of the surface, you're going to end up using a little bit of the stone and you end up doing this to the stone and you have to correct that. So my pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, then I come straight back, 1, 2, 3, 4, straight back, 1, 2, 3, 4, straight back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you check. Now, if you come and feel the blade with your nail up like this, come upwards. Can you feel that? Yeah. That is all you need. You don't need a big burr. A big burr is a waste of steel. That is all you need to get a 90-degree edge. It's the slightest of burrs. So once I've got that, actually, if you come back and have a look at the top of the blade, because I've used the rough side, you can see all the scratches going like this. So if you're because these are good blades, you don't feel it so much. But the cheaper blades, you can actually feel it. But you can't feel that. That's not too bad. When I did those, you can actually, it's really rough because it's a cheaper steel. But this is a better steel, so you don't feel it as much. But the idea is to get rid of those scratches. So, smooth side, same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight back. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight back. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight back. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now if you come and look at it, you'll see the scratches are still there, but they're much, much finer because I've used the smooth side of the stone. The idea is to get all the scratches moving in the same direction of the blade. So what we're going to do now is smooth side again, start on one side of the stone. Now if you come closer to the middle so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to be moving the stone up and down, but very gently I'm going to move the stone from this position to this position. So the trick is not to go up and down and keep the position of the blades moving, because if I were to go up and down and not move the stone from side to side, you'd end up with train tracks in the stone. So if you come and have a look again at the top of the blade, all the scratches are now moving with the blade. The less the friction, the faster you go. That's all what it's about. So now deburr, you rest the burr stone on the ridge of the tube up against the blade, and you just go between the jig 3 or 4 times.
About this part of the blade at all?
Good question. that part of the blade and that part of the blade are very, very seldom used. So I will get to that later, but it's more important to do multiple deburrs in the jig first, and I will get to that. You do see kids out there going with the burr stone and doing this. You have to be so careful, and really for that little bit of the blade it's going to make no difference. So I've deburred. What happens with the burr on the blade is, once I did the rough and the smooth side, effectively you've got two little wings which stick out the blade like this. Right? That's what you were feeling. When I deburr it, the majority of that comes off, but a very, very little bit of it actually bends back up like this. So if you had a very, very strong magnifying glass and you look down on the blade, you'd see two little tips sticking up. So you've got to get rid of that. So again, back to your smooth side, and just very gently, a few, and I've hardly got any weight on the stone now. So that gets rid of that, and I'm going to deburr again. And last time with the stone. Now I'm going to take the blades out, and now I do a total deburr from front to back, which gets rid of that little bit there and that little bit there. I always find it's best to put the blade on something solid so that you can get the burr stone down and put a bit of pressure on there. So that's a sharp blade.
Easy, easy.
It is not the same edge you are going to get with a club skate because of the quality of the steel. So if you feel that, well, no, you can feel the difference. Run your fingers down there. There is a difference. They are sharp and they're good for club skating, but it's not the same quality of finish as a good pair of blades. Who's with these? Just somebody else?
Those are somebody else's.